Start by telling us your name and your position here at the gym.
Yep, my name's Jamie. I'm the owner here at Behring Jiu-Jitsu, New York.
Perfect. And how long have you been doing jiu-jitsu your entire journey? What would you say?
I started right after high school, so it's been about 18 years now.
Perfect. That makes me feel better about our roles. And how did you find this? Because I would say about 18 years ago, it wasn't the most popular thing. It's not like it is now. So what got you into it?
Yeah, I got really lucky, actually. So I was beat up a lot as a kid, and I always had like an insecurity. I wanted to make sure I knew how to defend myself. And then I played sports all my life, and there was a kid on my wrestling team, and his uncle was a professional fighter. And so I got really lucky, and I got hooked up with him because there wasn't any jiu-jitsu schools around at that time. So I started training with him in garages, abandoned trailers, wherever we could find throw down mats. And yeah, once I started, I just never looked back. I just kept going.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think one of the most impressive things about you is that you've been doing it so long, yet the passion is relevant like every day. Like your dedication, your passion is pretty impressive. For it's easy to be that passionate. We've been doing it 4 years or 3 years, but like 18 years in, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's one of those rare things that gets more fun the longer you do it.
Yeah. All right, so if you can think back that far, or what you've experienced over the years, what do you think your biggest piece of advice to new people that are walking in the door and stepping on mats for the first time? What would be your biggest piece of advice for them?
Stick with it. Yeah, just keep coming. That's the biggest thing. You're gonna have ups and downs. Yeah, sometimes you're going to feel like a superhero when you come in some nights. Some nights you're going to feel like, why do I even do jiu-jitsu? But keep sticking with it through those peaks and valleys. And like I said, it's going to get more fun the longer you do it.
Or do those peaks and valleys ever fully go away?
No. No, I mean, I still get them, but yeah.
Nice. So you coach a couple different things here. You coach the MMA class, the grappling class, the striking classes. What's your favorite thing to teach, you think?
That changes all the time. Right now it's no-gi grappling for sure. We get a big crowd in there. It's high energy class. And we got a whole bunch of competitors, so that's really fun to coach. But yeah, ask me in 6 months, it might be MMA again. I go back and forth.
Yeah, well, I guess that's what keeps you doing it for 18 years.
Yeah.
So when you're teaching, what kind of, is there something you have to remind yourself of, or like, because you've been doing this so long, but you're constantly teaching it to new people. So is there something that you have to like remind yourself of or keep in mind while you're teaching?
That's a good question. Yeah, there's always things when you're teaching that, especially when you've been doing it a while, that you don't even realize you're doing. That's one of the values of teaching, is when you see other people make mistakes, you realize like, oh, this is the common thread, and you actually learn jiu-jitsu better yourself that way. So teaching teaches you as well. Perfect.
And you said right now your favorite thing is the no-gi grappling. Could you explain to us maybe how that class is structured, like how what a normal day in that class would look like?
Yeah, so that's this Tuesday, Thursday nights. It's one of our more active classes. We usually come in, we do an active warm-up. It's hand fighting or some positional thing. If we do drills, then it is relevant to that class, movements that we're going to do in that class when we get to the technique portion. And we do lots of live situational sparring or like constraint-based games. Which is, I feel, is an awesome way to learn. You get to be creative, get to learn through play. Makes it more fun for both the students and for myself.
Excellent. What I know you talked about a little bit about your journey, like your start with bullying, and that's obviously changed for you because now you bully everybody here. But what else do you think jiu-jitsu has helped you with in your life as like an adult, maybe?
Yeah. That's a hard question for me because I never stopped doing it, so I don't know the difference. But I mean, it's definitely kept me active. If I was just lifting weights, it wouldn't be as fun. I wouldn't be as active. It's given me something to be passionate about every day. This was my whole social life too. Like, it's given me all my friends, and these are some of my closest friends, these people I train with every day.
Perfect. Wonder who those friends are. It's easy to have lots of friends when nobody can beat you up. So like, I obviously you've been doing this for a long time. I know, even you're a black belt now, but you've been instructing for a very long time. You instructed me from the very beginning. What are some of your favorite success stories that you've experienced over the years? Because I know, I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, what are some of your favorite success stories you think over the years?
Yeah, it's hard to narrow it down to specific examples because it just I've been doing it so long. But I really, really love to see people go out and compete for the first time because it just lights a new fire in them. They come in, they're somehow automatically better, and then they come into practice the next day. And they get more confidence, and I just love to see that in people.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's helped me for sure, and I think same thing when you see people come back, it is they either immediately know what they want to work on to fix, or they're like just energized and they understand why they're doing all this.
Yeah.
For sure. So we talked about a lot of this stuff. If you, what's something like, obviously like you coach a bunch, but we have a ton of other coaches. What's one of the things you try to instill in all of your coaches to kind of, that you want pushed out in all your classes? Like what's something like a concept or a mindset that you want them to have?
No line drills. No. I want them to carry the culture. I want this to be open to everybody, but also for the hardcore competitors to be able to come in and train really hard too. But also when they train with somebody that's brand new, I want them to be able to tone it down. I only pick the people as coaches that really exclude that really show that passion to coach, a passion about jiu-jitsu as well.
Nice. That's our theme music. So.
Yeah, and I also like them to include some of the more the situationals and games and stuff too, make it more active. If it's just drilling for an hour and then rolling, like they don't really get much time in what they actually drilled for that hour, and people glaze over after so much drilling too. You need to keep them engaged.
For sure, have them learn while they don't know they're learning.
Exactly. Trick them into learning.
Perfect. Wait, is that what I've been doing this whole time? So, let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, so I'm actually curious about this question. What other hobbies do you have besides anything like MMA or like the gym related? Because you spend a ton of your time here, and it seems very encompassing for you. So.
Not a lot anymore, but I really love music. We go to concerts or festivals at least once a year. We like hiking. going outdoors. We don't take serious hikes, but I love being outdoors, love being in the woods.
Perfect. Yeah, this is, it's been great. I think I will say one thing. I know it's your interview, but I will say I want to add this because one of the things I'm so impressed with you is, like I said, when we started, my wife and I, we were white belts, and you just dumped a ton of time into us, and I was kind of confused why, because we were above the real professional grappler age, right? By the time we got good, it would be past our prime because we started past our prime, and I don't know why. At some point, I thought maybe we were the exception, and then to just watch you keep doing that over the years, to give the person that's been training 6 months all this time, and then watch you give the person that's been training 6 years the same amount of time, and there's no discrimination, there's no favorites, there's what makes you, because there's high turnover in jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is, what is it? I forget what it is. 95% of white belts never make it to blue belt. So how do you do you think about that, or how do you just keep giving so much energy to just these people if you don't know if they're going to be here in 6 months or not?
Passion recognizes passion. So, you guys, for example, you guys always ask a lot of questions. So, I recognize that you guys really love jiu-jitsu. So, I'm always down to spend extra time talking about jiu-jitsu. It's not hard for me.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's great. Okay, now on to the serious questions. So, at what point do you think I will be able to beat you in jiu-jitsu?
There won't be a point.
I agree. Is it one of the things I think this gym is so well known for is just having, we've interviewed a bunch of them today, but just having an absolutely killer group of girls. How do you think Behring has been able to do that in a sport that is predominantly male? Right, for now, the female's growing, but how do you think, what about this gym do you think allowed that to flourish so well?
I think that we're just protective over anybody that's new. Nobody comes here to get injured. They come here to learn jiu-jitsu. So that's always the goal. And, me, the other instructors, but also the students that have been around for a little bit are always very good at enforcing that culture and making sure everybody is rolling safe. I just think it's a really passionate group too, and I think that carries over no matter what the sex is, and we don't treat them any different. We treat them just like any other student.
Nice. So when you have, we talked about this with our gym, we roll hard. We're a very competitive group, but also at the same time very caring and safe. And how does that get balanced out so well? How do we have such competitive roles where everybody's tired, everybody's sweating, people are working really hard, but also not a lot of people getting hurt, not a lot of people leaving upset. What kind of culture, how do we build that culture so well, or how does that flourish in a place like this?
I think once you have that culture, the people that are there a lot, the regulars, they also not only enforce it but spread it, and then the new students will fall in line. I also think when we start rolling, we've already done so many live drills and games, and in those live things, there's not as much ego involved either. You get your energy out with that, and then by the time you actually get to the live rolls, nobody's got much ego involved anymore. And we roll a lot too. I think that's a big thing. I notice when people come in and they had not trained in a long time, they're probably training they're probably sparring a little bit too hard. But if you're doing it every day, you're putting in a ton of volume. It's really easy to not have your ego involved.
Yeah, you're not hanging everything on the once a week roll.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not all about winning. And yeah, and also just that idea, like, we're here to learn. Here to learn. We're not here to win rounds. There's no winning in practice. It's all about learning. If you want to win, go out and compete. That's where you're gonna put it on the line.
Perfect. And we compete a lot too, so I think that gets that avenue covered.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like what you advise for people that are thinking about, like, hesitant about coming to the gym to start.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't know what that's like. That's the one thing Jamie doesn't like.
Like, why come in and train jiu-jitsu?
I understand why people are hesitant. Like, it is a sport based on violence, and you don't know what you're walking into. Some gyms aren't as friendly or have as close of a culture, but I would just say come try it out at least. If it's not for you, it's fine. We have a week free trial. You can try it, see how you like it.
Yeah, I think the hardest thing is just walking in that door, knowing that everybody's been training longer than you, and you're automatically starting at the bottom.
Yeah.
But the thing is, new people walk in the door every day, so
Always new people starting. I see people are way more likely to come if they have a friend that comes with them. So convince your friend, bring a friend in and try it out.
for sure. Yeah, I think like that the most amazing part of jiu-jitsu is when you're just losing all the time, and then like 6 months in, a new person walks in the door, and you're like, they know nothing.
You don't realize how much you've actually learned until that new person comes in.
Yeah, because everybody else is training with you. You know, everybody's getting better.
Yeah.
So.
And what about parents that are thinking about having their kids come in? Like, why jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I'll ask you.
Yeah.
So like if that's how we got started, right? Was that we brought our kids in first, and then we got hooked later. But why do you think? What are some of the benefits you've seen from some of the kids that have started jiu-jitsu? You know, we have 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 12-year-olds. What are some of the benefits you've seen from some of those kids or have heard from those parents?
Definitely the confidence goes up. They don't get bullied as easily. And the classes are fun. You know, they generally enjoy coming. So yeah, come try, bring your kid, try it out. I love the families that do it too. I love when like you guys, like when the kids start out and then the parents are watching and they either get convinced or it looks fun and they try it out and then the whole family's doing it and they're sharing that sport together.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask it. I guess we'd edit it out. Do we like if that happens, like if a whole family signs up, like are there benefits to that? Like if I sign up with like my wife and we have 3 kids, like are there any incentives with that?
Yeah, I mean I understand if a whole family signs up. That can be an expensive bill every month, so we do offer family discounts, pretty heavy family discounts. You'll get a big percentage off for each additional family member.
Perfect. Awesome. Anything else? You got the hat on, now you should have plenty of ideas.
Do you want to talk about self-defense at all? Like the benefits of that for the women?
What's that?
Self-defense classes for the women, the benefits of that? Like,
Oh, is it
I know that's
215?
hard to...
Holy shit. Thanks, man.
Yeah, we'll leave that for like Mickey when she does
Okay, I
interviews.
was
She's running that. Yeah.
Okay. I was just rushing on the topic.
Any other
Yeah.
ideas, guys?
I want to ask you one more question. Okay, it's an easy one. So obviously you're here all the time. You're running a lot of classes. We have a bunch of other wonderful instructors too, but your hands are pretty full. What do you like? You're still very passionate about jiu-jitsu. Are you still competing? Are you still what's your role besides instructing at the gym?
Yeah, I still compete. I've actually started competing more since I've taken over the gym. It's you learn a lot from competing. That's my main goal when I compete, is I just want to get better, and I'm going to learn a lot faster when I compete. I'm going to have that same passion that I was talking about, like when the person goes out for their first competition. And yeah, I think it's important to lead by example too. If I'm telling all my students they should go out and compete, and I'm not doing it myself, then there might be something wrong there.
Yeah, I mean, I know from experience, like after you compete, it's always fun because, like, we'll come in, it's like you get put in a lot of octopus garden competition. It's like, let's figure that one out. Let's bring that in and run through that for a couple weeks.
Yeah, when I've went out and I haven't done so well in competitions, like, if it's a new guard to me or something, I learn that really thoroughly and I make it a big part of my game, actually.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, it's. I think maybe that's how you could do it for 18 years. Is that I'm sure 14 years ago you weren't doing octopus guard or Williams guard or any of that stuff.
It's an ever-evolving sport. You never stop learning. Even the guys that have been doing this a lifetime are still learning.
And so one of the other things, obviously, is the grappling art. So there's when people think of martial arts, they think of like Taekwondo, karate. How the one probably closest to jiu-jitsu would be wrestling. So how would you, in your experience, because you have a lot of experience in other martial arts too, how would jiu-jitsu differ from like the Taekwondos and the karate, maybe for the kids even, and then its closest partner, wrestling, how is it different from that?
So Taekwondo and karate, of course this isn't true for all gyms, but a lot of those gyms, they're just not very hands-on. Like, they're maybe doing point sparring, but it's not really fighting.
Or a big bar.
Yeah. So I think that's the big difference, is like we spar all the time, we roll all the time, so you're going to get a feel for whether it works or not. And most things aren't going to work if you aren't really testing them in sparring. Wrestling, on the other hand, wrestlers tend to do very well in this sport. It's still grappling. Wrestling is still grappling. Jiu-jitsu is grappling. Like, it's just a sister. So they usually flourish pretty quickly with this. And we teach a lot of wrestling in our classes as well.
Okay. And if say someone's tried wrestling and they weren't quite a fan of it, what are some things that they might enjoy in jiu-jitsu that wrestling doesn't do or doesn't use?
Jiu-jitsu is way more of a thinking sport than, you have to think in wrestling too, but jiu-jitsu is very, very technical. You can play all sorts of different games. You can play a slower, more methodical game where you can really outsmart your opponent rather than having to use brute force and athleticism. So I think that's the big thing, is like jiu-jitsu doesn't always require top-level athleticism, where wrestling you have to be very athletic. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Perfect. And I love you.
I love you.